So we're holding a very interesting concept. Very often when you have in the Gemara a machlokes, the Gemara says, well, what's their thought process? And the Gemara will go through the thought process of the Tanaim, the Amirayim. What's the svaras hamachlokes? What's the reason why they're arguing? So over here, the Rebbe Hashav is going to bring, even when Tanaim and Amirayim argue, it's not that they're arguing that there's a contradiction, that there's two ways and one of them is right. And a contradiction isn't the right word. It's not that there's a right and a wrong. It's not that there's one right opinion and there's one wrong opinion. And Hashem, when he gave the Torah, had a specific intention. And these two Tanaim, one of them picked up on the right intention, we hope. Maybe there's a third intention we just don't know about. And we'll stumble upon it one day and we'll realize that that's the right one. But no, it's not that there's two ways and one of them is right and one of them is wrong. So they're both right. There's Shivim Panim Torah, the 70 ways of understanding everything in Torah. And the reason for their argument is because each one has a different source of their neshama, and each one relates to the Torah in a different way. And so they're expressing the way that they relate to the Torah. So we're actually going to explain an argument, not in this way. We're going to explain it in a slightly different way. We're going to explain that really there's not much of an argument. We're going to get to at the end that there's two different ways you could understand. This is like more long run, but we're going to get to there's two different ways that you could understand Malchus of Atzilus and how that's going to play, and that's the Svaras Machlokes. But for now, at least, we're going to say that there's a Machlokes, or it's not really a Machlokes. They're each referring to two different things in a sense. So we'll read the Kitzur from before just so we can get where we're holding. We explained the concept of the 6 days in the Inyanim and Spheres and Aveda. We said that a person's job is to connect time and space and unite them in godliness according to its level in spheres. And this is what it means when it says that there's a certain amount of kindness, a certain amount of chesed that's cut for a person on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And there's different ways it can come down. It can come down into Bani Chayim Mizene, and sometimes there's only enough for one. And we said the story of the Baal Shem Tov that he switched wealth for children. So this that a person is judged every day. Who das Rabbi Yosi b'Braisa de Rosh Hashanah is the opinion of Rabbi Yosi in the Braisa of Rosh Hashanah. Das Rabbi Nasan, and according to the opinion of Rabbi Nasan, nidin mechol shah, a person is judged every moment. Shenamar, as it says, they're going to v'chaneno, that a person is checked every moment. Vikshal they asked on this. They came to Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Nasan in bein Rosh Hashanah l'chol yimei Shana. That according to Rabbi Yosi and Rabbi Nasan, there's no difference between Rosh Hashanah and any other day. So, klum, there's no difference. The Inyan din shel maila for the concept of being judged from above. How could you explain the pasuk which refers to Rosh Hashanah as it said Tuku b'chei shofar that on the day of blowing the shofar, that is the day that Hashem judges us, the Kayal Rosh Hashanah, which refers to Rosh Hashanah. And also what it says about it, that it says that the eyes of Hashem are upon it from the beginning of the year. From this we learn in the Gemara that Rosh Hashanah is the beginning of the year for judgment. What's the concept of the Malchis and Zephirnis and Shofars, all of the psukim that we say on Rosh Hashanah, so that we should crown Hashem as king, and so that Hashem should remember us and through Shofar. And what's the concept of Yom Yimayim? In the Alis al Hadas Klal, the Rabbi Yosef, the Rabbi Nasan in Chiddush Rosh Hashanah, the Gabi Shara Yom. And there's no way that you could say. What would be different from Rosh Hashanah than any other day? It wouldn't make sense to say that Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Nasan both hold that Rosh Hashanah isn't a day of judgment. It doesn't make sense to say. Ela vadai, rather certainly, ein machlokes v'zeklal. There's no argument in this at all. Asher Rosh Hashanah v'Yom Kippur amu Yom Adin. That Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is a day of judgment. L'chein kasav asar mamaris ma'amer achikr din chelik beis perak aleph perak havav shlei nechlak adam adavar. And also in the Sefer Asar Mamaris, it explains, it's written that no one argues about this, that no one argues that Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are days of judgment. That everyone agrees that on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the kindness that every person is going to get is set for them.
His portion.
And this is why we say the psukim of Malchis, Zephirnis, and Shofars and Rosh Hashanah, so that Hashem should rule over us, etc. the binyan of Malchus Atzilus in Rosh Hashanah ad Yom HaKippurim, because building up Malchus, as we explained before, is from Rosh Hashanah through Yom Kippur. She'oz bin Ne'ilah mekabelas Malchus me'gevuris the Atik, and then by Ne'ilah, the Malchus receives from the Hegvuris of Atik. We explained this before. This is the source of the Chayas for Biyah for the whole year. That is to say that in Rosh Hashanah, Chesed is drawn for the whole world. And Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, it's set for every individual, and everyone agrees with all of this. Also, all of this is agreed that in Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the Chesed is set, and you have Binyan Malchus, and it culminates in Ne'ilah and Yom Kippur, that you have the Atik, and that causes that everyone should get what they need, specifically. Everyone agrees about this. Elo, we call Malkim Sfirli, the Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Nassan. Nevertheless, Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Nassan hold the Adam Nidin Mechol Yom Din Umishvat Gomer Al Kol Anyanim L'Chayli L'Debris L'Chayim, that a person is judged every day, according to Rabbi Nassan, every moment, a complete judgment about all things relating to sickness and to health and to life, etc. Because the kindness which is set for him, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, even though it's already in Malchus Vatzilos, it doesn't have any form of how it comes down into this world, as we explained in the last nightmare. There's no comparison between Asiyah, the physical world, the Gabe Atilos, how Hashem appreciates the world. Al-Kaid. Even though from that chesed could come all kinds of ashpayis into this world. Nevertheless, the judgment wasn't specifically set. What's going to be with this chesed? And with what the sustenance will come down. Whether it'll be children, or vitality, or sustenance, or in all of them, or in spiritual things, or in Elam Haba. This all takes place in the Beis Shalmaila, in the chambers of Bria and Yitzira. This is the judgment that happens every day, and as we will explain. So the judgment of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is how much chesed comes to the whole world specifically, and to each individual specifically, how much chesed he will get. This is the main judgment. And on this depends everything. Because according to how much chesed there is, what there is to work with, that is how much a person will be able to get.
He paid him a swap the property.
Or also if there's too little chas v'shalom. Question is very and as we explained before, the kasher chesed b'ribui, when there's a lot of chesed yesh b'efshari, it's possible shatia ashpas chesed b'chol advarim d'varim chayim mizene v'amim ein b'efshari shiu kol advarim kim shnayim mehem or echad mehem chulu. That when there's a lot of chesed, it's possible that there should be ashpa for everything, and if not, then it can't be for everything, as we explained before. And also, if in the three things there's a nafkamina, if there's a lot, or if there's too little, chas v'shalom. And this depends on the general hashpah of chesed and Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur for the whole world and for the individual, whether it's going to be a lot or if it's going to be not too much. Nevertheless, is the judgment each and every day specifically. That what will be drawn from this chesed. That if, let's say that, for example, there's enough for two things in Barnei Chayim Mizene, that either in children, or vitality, or sustenance. So there's enough for two that's set for Rosh Hashanah. Which two things will it be? in Banei V'Chaye, if it's going to be Banei V'Chaye, or Mizeni V'Chaye, or if it's going to be Mizeni V'Chaye, and similar things, the commission is parallel. And as we said before, I figure Bachram and Yeshiva are probably only hoping for Chaye and Mizeni. But, but the point is that there's enough for...
But can it be judgment for the future beyond that year?
Yep. I don't think so. I think it means that it comes out in a practical sense. They're going to have kids practically.
So it's not like if I daven on Rosh Hashanah for a child of Mirz Hashem in 5 years' time, that's not practically given to me at that point in time.
I think that when the Hashpah is caught, it means that it's going to come practically in that year, in that time. By the way, it's something to really appreciate, that having kids isn't just you have it and then it's done. Now you have it, period. Every year that you have kids, you have a certain allotment of chayes of hashpah, and a certain amount of that goes towards the continuing of you having kids. It gives you, in a sense, an appreciation of every single moment that you have a kid. It's not just that you have a kid and now it's just the given. The kid is here, period. Every single time, and according to this, every single day. And according to Rabbi Nosson, every single moment that a person has children, it's a specific hashpah milamayla, and it could chas v'shalom not come in that way. Obviously, when a person has a kid, they want that their hashpah should continue going into their children, even at the expense of, like we had in the last Maimer, we had the service of Baal Shem Tov. Technically, it could have just been, why not just be poor for a year? And that year, the hashpah from Rosh Hashanah will come down into having kids, and then the next year, you'll be able to be rich again. Every single moment that you have a kid, it's a new hashpah. And the same thing with life. I mean, we appreciate life in a much more intimate way, that we are able to breathe. And every single time that we breathe in and we breathe out, we know that we're being renewed. And we make a bracha asher yatzar, that every time we go to the bathroom, that every single time it's really a renewal. And mizone is not really something we appreciate that much. We feel like money just sits in the bank account. Or food just sits in the pantry. It's also hashpah. But the point, it all comes in its own way. But the point is that it's allotted by Hashem, and it's part of the chesed that's set on Rosh Hashanah. So, what were we saying? Alright, so because from this chesed that's set on Rosh Hashanah, it's not recognized how it's going to come down into Asiyah, because it doesn't have a form at all. This is dependent on the base of Shalmaila. This is according to a person's actions. This is also the judgment that happens in the chambers of Bria, as we said. So it turns out that Rabbi Yesi and Rabbi Nosson, what they're saying, it's all true. The main judgment for the chesed comes on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And nevertheless, nevertheless, is a complete judgment every day.
But every day or every moment?
We're going to get to that. That depends. I believe we're going to get to that. So, any questions?
No, that was it.
Kitzur v'sachesed da'atik Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippurim ein b'yadayim shem tayar ein yoneh el mazeh. So the chesed, which is set from Atik and Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, there is no form to it from things, from concepts that exist in this world. Gam bilti mecholak be'echos v'chamos b'vanei chayim mizeni. It's also not divided in quality and quantity in banei chayim mizeni, in children, vitality and sustenance. And this is the judgment that happens every day according to Rabbi Yesi and according to Rabbi Nosson, and every moment according to Rabbi Nosson.
What's the story of the altar?